मरघट तक है तेरी कहानी पग पग प्यारे दंगल 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 सूरज तेरा चढ़ता ढलता गर्दिश में करते हैं तारे दंगल 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 दंगल.
Great morning, my dear friends. Bhupesh Anand this side again. So we have completed lecture number 1 in regard to prerequisites for level 1 economics. Now this prerequisite information or prerequisite concepts or prerequisite knowledge, it is not given to you in curriculum, but that is posted in CFA curriculum, site you can have from there. So before coming with the main study sessions, I am firstly giving you the knowledge, pre-required knowledge when doing those study sessions. So today's lecture number 2, I am going to start with. In the last lecture I discussed something about the market, the basic information of economics, the framework of the syllabus which is covered in CFA curriculum level number 1, microeconomics, macroeconomics, global economics, and within micro we have different functions. And we have discussed in the beginning, in the last lecture, how many types of markets are there. What is product market, what is factor market, what is capital market, and what are the processes, from where input generates and then output, and then what is the relationship between value, price, and cost. So we are moving towards again, to the positive side, and I have to cover a new concept, a new logic, a new learning outcome given to you in CFA curriculum. And that logic is named as demand. I will be discussing about demand function. What are the variables in relation to demand? How we can mathematically represent it as an equation. How we can draw it as a curve. What are substitute products? What are named as complementary products? Or I will say what are the different variables, how I relate it, how I prepare it, all related with demand, the initial knowledge, the prerequisite knowledge in regard to demand, I will be going to start with. Please take out your registers. Great morning, prerequisite for level 1 economics, lecture 2. Today I am doing with demand and supply analysis. No doubt, all is demand and supply analysis, but CFA Institute, that they have divided into introduction part, then to consumer demand part, and then to firm part. So these are the basic features which we should be aware of. So I, Bhupesh Anand, I am going to start with, I am getting a privilege from you that I am going to start with what is the meaning of a demand. What I mean by a demand, what are the basic principles in relation to demand? What is wow, from where demand is being created? Who creates the demand? And mathematically how we can represent it, what are the variables in relation to demand, and how we can represent it as a demand function. What is the main basic shape of a demand curve, why which variable we take in the x-axis and which variable we take in negative in y-axis, and why demand curve is negatively sloped. All that we'll be discussing with my dear friends. In the last lecture I have started something about this demand and supply analysis and introduction, and I have covered that what is the meaning of a market, types of markets, product market, factor market, and capital market. When I say product market, it is the market of goods and services by consumers. When I say factor market, it means it is the factor, it is the market for labor, for crude oil, for raw materials, for capital, and then we have discussed capital market. Now, I will be today discussing with the demand and supply function. So I will be explaining that, then I will be showing you the PPTs. So let me start with the journey, and the first point which I want to tell you is what is the meaning of a demand. Now, when I say a demand of a CFA charter holder, the students who have already cleared all the 3 levels, those are named as charter holders, CFA, chartered financial analyst. Now, you can think, from the point of view of demand of a charter holder, how this demand of a charter holder will increase. What are the factors in that? Or I can say the demand of a petrol, or demand of any product which you consume, demand of tea, demand of clothes, demand of mobile phones. Nowadays, mobile phones, demand of laptops. What is the meaning of a demand? What are the variables? What are the basic principles involved in that? So I will be taking a very basic example, and on the basis of that example, I will try to explain that what is the meaning of a demand. For example, first point, just write down These are the 3 points which we will be covering with today in today's lecture. The first is basic principles of demand. The second is demand function, how mathematically we can relate this function. For example, in mathematics, we generally relate as y is equal to function of this. So what is a function for that? Demand function. And the last, demand curve. So first point is this, we are dealing with this, and the second point is demand for a particular product, anything, any good, any product, any service, any human beings, charter holders. It depends upon, or I can say units of equity, units of mutual fund, anything. It depends upon some variables. So I am taking the grassroots level, the example, because with the help of that example, everything will be clear to you. I am taking the example of a petrol, the demand of a petrol. In all, all the cities, all the countries throughout the world, the prices of petroleum products or petrol is being increasing or decreasing very frequently. So if I take the example of a petrol, then that the demand of a petrol depends upon which factors. Then I can get a close coverage of demand function and the variables which are related with that. Why government is increasing the prices of demand? Why sometimes decreasing the prices of demand? Why? What is the behind? What is the logic behind that? So can you tell me what are the variables? Why or how demand of a petrol can increase or decrease, or what are the variables in relation to that? So for that, I have given an example. For example, demand for petrol in a city, the real life example. Demand for a petrol in a city depends upon the price of a petrol. That if the price of petrol increases, the general perception is, the general idea is, the general assumption is that as the price of the petrol will decrease, the demand will increase. You getting my point? No doubt it is subject to some exceptions. But generally we can say that price of a product, price of a petrol, price of any product, because I am using it for petroleum, so then I can use it for any other product. So think it from petroleum point of view, because this is a real life touching example. Now how the quantity of petrol will be related, why it will increase or why it decrease. The first factor which I have told you, it is the price of a petrol. If price of a petrol increases, the quantity decreases. You getting my point? And if price of the product decreases, the quantity increases. It means there is a negative relationship, inverse relationship. I'm not taking into account those exceptions. No doubt there are some exceptions to that. Second, can you tell me what are the other factors which relate to the demand of a petrol? For example, if the automobile prices increases, if the price of automobile products, that is complementary products, if I say petrol and automobiles, they are complementary. Now, use of car or use of a bus is a substitute, because I have to move. I can use either bus services, metro services, or I can use my personal car services. That is a substitute. I'm not talking of a substitute. My point is, if the price of automobiles decreases, then more people will buy automobiles, and if they will buy more automobiles, they will require more petrol, and the demand of petrol will increase. It means if the price of automobiles increases, less people will buy automobiles, and hence there will be a lower demand. There will be a lower demand of that petrol. So in this way, in the basic sense, I can say what are the variables, what are the factors which can relate the demand. So this is a real life example. Availability of petrol and other factors are there. But now I am coming directly to the issue. As for the CFA curriculum, I am directly coming to the mathematical issue, that what are the factors in reality, we can bifurcate for quantity demanded. So I have written quantity demanded of petrol, because I am taking the example of petrol. Quantity demanded of petrol depends upon 4 factors. I have written those 4 factors. Very beautiful handwritten slide I have prepared for you. So please prepare this. Quantity demand of any product. I am taking the example of a petrol, then I will be using for any product. Quantity demanded of a petrol or of any product depends upon, quantity demanded depends upon some 4 independent variables. The first variable is price of that price of that product. For example, I'm taking the petrol, so it depends upon the price of the product. And second is income. That if the income is increasing, the general perception is more the income, more will be the demand. No doubt there are some exceptions in relation to some products. I'm not going in detail. I'll be covering that. But what are those exceptions? But right now, because I want to build up a basic conceptual knowledge. So when I say demand, it depends upon four important factors. The first is the price of that product whose demand I want to calculate. For example, if I want to see the demand of a petrol, then demand of a petrol depends upon is equal to price of petrol. Because if price increases, the demand decreases. If price decreases, the demand increases. It means there's a negative relationship between the price of the product and the quantity demanded. Second is income. The more the income, more will be the quantity demanded. Just think it over, just visualize that if income increases of Mr. A, then he will consume more petrol. He will be using more car. He will be going to more stations, outstations by car. It means the quantity demanded. The quantity demanded of petrol will increase if income increases. No doubt there are some exceptions to that, but general talking, overview I can say is like this. And the third is prices of other goods. Now, other goods can be bifurcated into two parts. I have written substitutes and complementary. I repeat, prices of other goods, substitute and complementary. Now, what are substitute? For example, air travel and rail travel. I can say car travel and metro travel. These are substitutes. Supposedly the metro prices, like in Delhi, they have increased the metro prices to double. In last few months, they have increased the prices by double. Now, because metro prices haven't increased, in that case, the demand of petrol will increase because people will not be going by metro now because the cost of travel of metro has been increased. So they will be going there through personal cars. I am assuming that if there are only two modes, in that case, their consumption of petrol will increase and hence quantity demanded will increase. It means there is a direct relationship of substitutes and the quantity demanded. And the next part is complementary. Complementary. Just see complementary. What is the meaning of a complementary? Can you tell me? What is the meaning of a complementary? I have told you there are two products, prices of other. Complementary means, for example, petrol and automobiles, they are complementary. If price of automobile increases, the people will not so much buy automobiles and hence quantity demanded decreases. So there is a negative relationship between quantity demanded and the price of complementary goods. There is a positive relationship between quantity demanded and the substitutes. And there is a positive relationship between quantity demanded and income. And there is a negative relationship between quantity demanded and the price of that product. So these are the four variables I have written. And the last one I have written as other factors. Other non-monetary factors are also important in calculating, in having a quantity demanded or the relationship which can affect quantity demand. So third point, please write down quantity demanded for any product depends upon following variables. Quantity demanded for any product depends upon following variables: price of the product, income, prices of other goods, and other factors. Now, no doubt I have already explained the explanation that what is the relationship of quantity demanded and the price of the product. Normally speaking, I will say there is a negative relationship. As the price increases, quantity demanded will decrease. As the price decreases, the quantity demanded will increase, subject to some exceptions. So write down A point in case you want to write down price of a product. There is a general understanding at lower price, the quantity demanded will increase, would be higher, subject to some exceptions. Subject to some exceptions. Income, again there is a general understanding that as the income decreases, the quantity demanded will also decrease, and as the income increases, the quantity demanded will increase. Now question to yourself, please ask on your mind that whether it is true that when your income increases, you spend lavishly And when your income decreases, you spend pessimistically. So it income has a direct relationship with the demand. So second point, there is a general understanding at a high income level, quantity demanded will increase. That is, if income is more, quantity demanded will also increase. Next is price of other goods. Now, other goods can be substitute goods or complementary goods. Now, when I say substitute, I have just told you what is the meaning of a substitute. Metro travel or personal car travel or by Ola or Uber travel. If the prices of Ola and Uber will increase, the people will more go to, to metro. In that case, the demand of petrol will decrease. Just see airline versus train. And example of complementary goods, petrol and automobiles. Okay, so these are the factors in which I can say the demand, the principle of demand is there. And today I will be telling you the equation also, that what is the equation of a demand function. So, but before that, just let me tell you, I want to tell you what is the meaning of a function. So I think you must have written this, all the variables. Now what are the variables which are related with the demand? Quantity demanded for any product depends upon following variables. Price of the product. Price of the product. And I have given you the explanation also. There is a general understanding that lower the price, quantity demanded will be higher. Okay. The income. It means I can say, there is a positive relationship. Generally, I can say this is a negative relationship. I will say this is a positive relationship. And when the prices of bus travel increases, bus travel increases, then I can say metro increases, then I will be going to personal car, and hence the demand of quantity will increase. This is a positive relationship. And this is again, in substitute it is a positive relationship, and in case of complementary there is a negative relationship. So I will be focusing on these 4 points. Before coming to next point, I want to tell you the intuition behind how demand function has been formulated mathematically. Now, just listen to me for coming 2-3 minutes. 2-3 minutes will clear your concepts. I want to say you that in mathematics you must have heard that what is the meaning of a function. Now, when I say a basic meaning of a function, it means a production function or respiratory function. Any type of function you can say. Office administrative function, factory function, any function. In any function, there are some common points in that. One is the input is there, and then output is there, and then in between input and output there is a function, there is a system, there is a respiratory system, production system, any system you can say. So I want to tell you, I will relate this with the help of a demand function. So just see, demand function is, before that I am telling you meaning of a function. So meaning of a function is x, let input be there, now there are 3 factors in a function. One is input, second is the function, and third is the output. So let I relate x as input, and let I relate this function as y is equal to x square. It can be anything, And third is output. Let I relate it as y. So I have related y output. Output is equal to input whole square. Just for understanding purpose, I have written output is equal to input whole square. So it means output, for example, if input is 5, I will say output will be equal to 25. If input is 7, I will say output will be equal to 49. So this is the main basic objective of a function. This is the basic normal definition of a function. Now I will relate it with expressing you mathematically about demand function. Just see, if input is 4 and if the function is x, y is equal to x square, and if y is output, x is input, then I will say output is equal to 9. Now what are the variables, what are the inputs in a demand function? Because I want to relate with a function, Input, I have just told you, a demand of a petrol, demand of a product depends upon different variables. The first is the price of that product, the income of the person who is consuming that, the price of substitute and the price of complementary. This is input. Then I will be having one function, and then that function will have some outputs. Please prepare this flowchart. I have prepared for you. Do not, I have PPTs on this. I have shown you the PPTs, but my point is that please draw it by your hand. Then only you will be getting more better intuition in that. So input, first is input, price of a product, income, price of Other goods, when I say other goods, it means substitutes and complementaries. Substitute and complementaries. Now demand function, it means demand of product X depends upon the function of the price of that product, the income of that product, the income of that person, and the price of other products. So these are the three variables I have written. Now it can also be bifurcated into two, substitute, price of the substitute, and the price of the complementary, because there's a direct relationship in the price of substitute in quantity demanded of a product. So I will be telling you that, and the output will be quantity demanded. So please write down this function, because I will be now in the next slide will be telling you the mathematical framework of this. Just see, I have written case study. I have taken a help of a case study of a petrol case study, and with the help of that I can tell you how we can relate a demand function. Now see, quantity demanded of a petrol. Now X is petrol. Quantity demanded, I want to calculate quantity demanded of petrol. I want to calculate quantity demanded of X. Now supposingly, I have just written, I have taken any hypothetical figure, don't go in the figures, just I want to explain you the concept. That's why I have taken these 60. This is absolute value. How I have taken, I am not aware, I have just taken hypothetically. Minus 2p, you have to be aware of signs, whether it is positive or negative, and for which, this is petrol, this is for the product, this is minus 2p plus 3i, this is positive sign, it means I means income, plus 1.5p bus travel, it means it is a substitute product. Okay, it means if the price of a petrol increases, the people will go to private cars, and hence quantity of demanded of petrol will increase. So that's why I've written p. If the price of substitute will increase, and if the price of complementary will increase, the demand will less. For example, price of automobile will increase, then people will have less automobiles, and they will purchase, they will consume less petrol. So minus 1p, this is again minus. So I have used 2 times minus, 2 times plus, minus, plus, plus, minus. Now in today's lecture, I want to tell you what is the actual meaning of this minus, because then only you can find out whether there is a positive relationship or whether there is a negative relationship. When I say first minus, that is product price of the product, there is an inverse relationship, there is a negative relationship between the quantity demanded of the product and the price of the product. So just see, I have written for you first explanation. If you write down, I am really telling you, you will be better clear with the concepts. Minus 2p, that is price of X, that is price of the petrol, that is price of petrol, means if price of the product increases, then the quantity demanded will decrease, subject to some exceptions. I have written terms and conditions apply. Those terms and conditions I am not discussing now, because now there is not an appropriate time to discuss. I will be telling you again in coming lectures. The next interpretation is plus 3 income. It implies, because the sign is plus, it means if the income increases, then the quantity demand in general understanding will increase. So it means if income increases, then quantity demanded will also increase. Okay, the third explanation, that is 1.5p, that is 1.5p, 1.5p. Now what is the meaning of this? This is bus travel, this is the price of a bus travel, that is of a substitute. You're getting a point? So if the price of bus travel increases, if the price of bus travel increases, then quantity demanded of petrol, will also increase, because people will now not going in that bus, rather they will be moving to their personal cars, and hence the consumption of petrol will increase. Minus 1p, it means it is the negative relationship with the complementary products and the positive relationship with the substitute products. So I have prepared this. Again, I have written the formula, the mathematical form. Quantity demanded of X depends upon, the quantity demanded depends upon, demand of X depends upon the function of the price of X, income of person, and the price of substitute and complementary. So these are the independent variables, what I want to say. It means if they increase or if they decrease, they will directly have the effect on the quantity demanded. So I can say quantity demanded has a dependency. It has a dependency on this. It has a dependency on this. So these are the independent factors and these are the dependent factors. Let's go to next point. Now, in economics, or anywhere, you can say, I can relate it anything to a graph in x-axis and in y-axis. Just listen to me for 1 minute. In x-axis, we generally take independent variable. Always we take independent variable. And in y-axis, we take dependent variable. So that's why we write down y on x. Now, what is the meaning of y on x? It means y is dependent on x. It means on y-axis, we take dependent variable and on x-axis, we take independent variable. For example, here, what we have just discussed, quantity demanded is equal to, it is a function of price of a product, it is a function of income, and it is a function of price of other products. Now, this is dependent and these are independent. So, logically speaking, I should relate price in x-axis and quantity demanded on y-axis, because we always relate x-axis for independent variable and y-axis for dependent variable. So it should be like this. Yes, it will be like this. But after 2-3 minutes, I will be telling you that I will be reversing that. I will be taking inverse of this demand function. No doubt price is independent, but I will make it as dependent because I want to determine the price. In economics, if I am given the demand function and the supply function, I want to find out the price, the intersection price between these two. You're getting my point? So I will be converting this price to from independent to dependent, and I will be taking these factors in x-axis that I will be telling you. So let's start with the journey. Now I want to draw a demand curve. I have told you what is the meaning of function. I have told you what are the variables, and I have told you what is demand function. Now, what is demand curve? How it is being shown? Whether it is positively sloped or negatively sloped. So, graphical presentation of a demand curve. Just see in the x-axis. Now, I have written quantity demanded. It is no doubt it is a dependent variable, but in curve I will always relate quantity demanded as independent and price of the petrol as dependent, and that's why I have taken the inverse of demand function. Why I am doing it, I will be telling you within 1 minute. I have just assume one figure so that I can relate the things. Quantity demanded of a petrol. I have written the function just 2 minutes back. 60 minus 2p plus 3i plus 1.5p minus 1p. We have seen the relationship. We have seen the interpretation. And what is the meaning of this? Now suppose I want to fill the figures, and suppose automobile price is given to me. Just hypothetically, I am taking hypothetically $50. Income is $200. Price of the bus travel is $1,000. I'm again telling you this is a hypothetical example because I want to tell you the relationship, whether it is a positive relationship or whether it is a negative relationship. So don't go in the intent of the quantum of the numbers. Just see these numbers as it is. So if I fill these numbers, in their respective places, then I can calculate a relationship. So after filling that, just see quantity demanded of a petrol is equal to 60, 60, 60, this is 60 minus 2p, that is just see here, minus 2p, the price is the price of the product, plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, this is plus 3 income I have written as 3, income I have received, income as 200. Okay, so plus 3 into 200 plus 1.5, bus travel is 1000, so I have put the figure of 1000 and minus 1p, and I think I have okay, automobile price is 150, so I have written 50. So if I relate it, I will be getting this function. Just see, please do it for me. Quantity demanded function, demand function of x is equal to 60 minus 2p plus 3i plus 1.5 product of price of substitute minus 1 of price of complementary, and I have told you why we are using plus and minus, what is the relationship behind that. Now this is the demand function in which quantity demanded is dependent and these factors are independent. So I have taken, I have done I have assumed that P is not given to me because I want to relate P and Q. So if I take P here, now this is quantity demanded is equal to 2110 minus 2P. If I take P on the left hand side, and if I take quantity demanded on the Y on the right hand side, then this will be, I will say, price of X will be equal to this 1055 minus 0.5 D. So this will be the relationship. So just see price I have taken because I have to prepare it in a curve. So that's why I am taking the inverse of the demand function. So I am making independent variable as dependent and dependent as independent because I am taking the inverse of demand function. So price of commodity X or price of petrol X will be equal to $1,055 minus 0.5 demand of X. It means there is a negative relationship, but I want to tell you that there is a negative relationship between price and quantity demanded. There is a negative relationship between price and quantity demanded. So, if I present this negative relationship, just see the curve which I am drawing here. This is the negative slope. X-axis I am taking quantity demanded, and on Y-axis I have taken price. Y-axis price and X-axis quantity demanded, and this slope is negatively sloped. Just see. So please note down these 2-3 notes, then we will be building that graph demand curve. It is a price which is determined, which determine the quantity demanded. I know that price which determine the quantity demanded. It means price is independent and quantity demanded is dependent. That we know. This is demand function. Note 2. Price is independent and quantity is dependent. Again we know. We know that. Note 3. But now the real story starts from here. The demand function needs to be inverted because I want to show price on the y-axis. I want to calculate y p is equal to this much quantity demanded. So I want to calculate this price. So that's why I want to show it here in the left hand side in the y-axis. So I am inverting that demand function just to prepare a demand curve so that price becomes the dependent variable. So as we want price on y-axis and quantity demanded on x-axis, price on y-axis and quantity demanded on x-axis, note 4, the inverted, this is important, please underline, the inverted demand function is named as demand curve. And the slope of demand curve is the coefficient of demand curve. So just see the curve that is negatively sloped. And if I see from my PPTs, or just firstly see from this Google Baba that how this curve is being showing, it is a curve. No doubt I have written a direct line. This is demand curve. And price, just see the price I have taken. This price is in the x-axis, y-axis, and the quantity demanded is on y-axis. As the price increases, quantity demanded will decrease, and as the price decreases, quantity demanded will increase. So there is a negative relationship between these two figures. So I have just told you what is the meaning of demand, what are the variables of demand, what are the principles of demand, how we relate demand function, what is the meaning of a function, and when we want to file out, prepare a curve. Now how demand function can be converted to demand curve, and how we will take inverse, and then how the negative relationship is there. Similar is the thing with Wikipedia. Demand. In economics, demand is a quantity of a commodity or a service that people are willing and able to buy at various prices. The relationship between price and quantity demanded is named as demand curve. Just see the relationship between price and quantity. So we have taken price as dependent. And this is preferences and choice determines, just see what are the factors which affect goods own price, that is price of related goods, that is substitutes, and we can relate taste on preferences and all that, and then we can relate it with a function, and I have told you how we can prepare a function. Just see, this is the function, which they have shown. And I have told you the basic logic behind that what is the basic logic of a function as per mathematics, and how quantity demand is related with these functions, and then how I will invert that demand function and convert into a curve. And after that, my dear sir, I have prepared some PPTs for you. Just have a look on these PPTs because I have prepared by doing very hard work, We have done this meaning of function. I've just told you what is the meaning of function. Then quantity demanded depends upon these factors: price of the goods, income, price of other goods, other factors. Now in demand function, this is input, this is function, this is output. Just see, I have prepared the handwritten slides as well as PPT for you, just for understanding purpose. The demand function is to be inverted so that price becomes a dependent variable, as we want price on x-axis and quantity demanded on x-axis and price on y-axis. Hope your concepts are now clear in relation to demand. Be happy, be jolly, be cheerful.